Hi, and welcome back to Dirtbag Baseball Talk, Dirtbags. It's great to have you here for another episode with us. And we do it for you. We can't do it without you. So just stay part of the nation. We love it. We're pumped about it. Keep spreading the message for us. And as you know, our YouTube channels it's all about empowering and educating you on the latest, the greatest. I don't like using those terms. What's possibly out there that could help us evolve as a player, as a parent, as a coach, whatever it is, to get and enjoy this great game of baseball that we all love so much, and be able to stay in that fun factor, but yet evolving as a player, a parent, or a coach as well. So today's episode, I'm super pumped. I'm super excited to have them with me. And it's Branden Windle, Matt, and John from Win Reality. You maybe heard about it, you maybe haven't heard about it, but either way, you're going to know about it by the end of this episode. And if all things go well in that, we're going to probably try to put together a series for you because, again, like we said, we all want to educate and empower you as much as we can. And in this case, in the Win Reality world. So guys, great to have you with us. Thank you for being guests with us. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kirk. Happy to be here.
Yeah, that's
thanks,
for
Kirk.
sure.
Great to be here.
Thank you. So obviously the most important question is let's go ahead and get started with the why factor. Why does Win Reality get created?
Yeah, good question. So I think when we think about the reason we exist is to make players better. We are taking what is in the real world necessary for practice, which is game speed sort of reps, and taking that and putting it in virtual reality. Essentially what we're able to do is replicate game speed pitches from real pitchers in the app. And we know that coaches, teammates, whatever, can't replicate the players that they're going to face. And that's what we do for them, is we create the opportunity to take game speed reps on your own pace. And so think about it like a golf simulator. Like we are that for baseball, and we are simulating the pitcher you're going to face in reality in our app. So
that is phenomenal. That's phenomenal that you can do that. Take us through a bit of the journey, guys. How long does this come from concept to fruition? This isn't an easy job. This is a daunting task we're talking about.
Yeah, and you actually have to go back to the early 1990s for where the genesis of Win Reality began. It started with Dan O'Dowd when he was a member of the Cleveland Indians organization. He's always been very forward thinking, trying to figure out what advantage could he give his players at the biggest stage in the world, Major League Baseball. What advantage could he give them that just simply did not exist across the landscape of baseball? And that question led him to go visit NASA, one of the Kennedy Space Centers. And they were using at the time a thing called cave technology, where they were using projection mapping to create what looked like a very realistic environment in a space that was, just very open, what you might expect now to see in kind of like a warehouse. And so they were able to train their astronauts on situations that they might run into. And Dan wanted to take that and put it into a baseball context. Of course, at the time, it was incredibly expensive. The technology just wasn't quite there for baseball. So he had that idea in his mind for quite some time. Fast forward to about 2017, 2018, technology had advanced to the point where you could buy a projector for a relatively low cost and give baseball players the chance to see and simulate what felt like game speed pitching. And now just in the last 5 years, it's grown so much with virtual reality to now you put the goggles on, you forget that you're not actually on a baseball field. I mean, we see this time and time again, even with major leaguers, that if a pitch comes up and in, they dance out of the way like they're going to get hit by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So from 1990s to now, the technology has just grown so much that you'll forget that you're in a virtual reality headset. It feels like you're on a baseball diamond or a softball field now.
Yeah, and I think like the big sort of turning point for the company. So we started exactly like Matt said, with this product that was really meant for like the most elite players, right? It's like, how are you going to replicate practicing against Justin Verlander other than playing in the game? But like, obviously you need the reps beforehand. So like what we did is we would take over an entire room, just sort of like a golf simulator for MLB teams, and like create that sort of environment. You get in the room and like you are, like you said, on a projector like a golf simulator, playing against that player, right? What really changed the dynamic for us is when the Oculus came out and allowed us to just put on a headset and do that exact same thing, right? And so when that was possible, we said like, hey, what worked for the major league teams, we need to replicate for the youth player. And in the Oculus, costing, $200, $300, really allowed us to like take what worked for like the highest level and just take it to, the masses sort of deal.
Yeah, it's amazing what technology can do. There's no question about it. It's changing the game so fast and so exponentially that it's overwhelming to a lot of the masses at the youth level, as we've all talked about. So let's back that up for you as Dirtbags. Again, we want to simplify it. We want to slow it down and make you realize that this Win reality, it isn't overwhelming. So John, I know you have a good video that you definitely want to get across to them to allow them the opportunity to see that, hey, what we're talking about it's mind-blowing, but it's not mind-boggling.
Right. And just before I tee up this video, I do want to say that the key to the replication, unlike a golf simulator, which can simulate a golf hole, we're replicating the picture, right? That's like baseball, unlike golf, requires the participation of another player, right? So that's the thing that's been hard that's really like these guys have really dialed in, is the replication of a pitcher at all levels. And so I'll show you a video that brings that to life. Give me 1 second here.
It's such a valid point. And what John's talking about there, Dirtbags, is the fact that that's right. I can't throw BP and repeat what a pro pitcher can. Matt can't, Branden can't, John can't. We all want to. Dad's out there watching, mom's out there watching, coaches out there watching. You know what we're talking about. So I think as you watch this from your perspective of this side of the game of baseball, that's what John's talking about right there. You now have a repeatable delivery that you can work on, picking up his release point, et cetera, his spin, et cetera, et cetera. So not to jump in on you there, John, but I just wanted to kind of expand on.
That's great. And what's on the screen right now looks a lot like a video game, but it is not a video game. It is that is a picture out there that has been pulled from the statistic realities of actual pitchers out in the real world, and that's who you get to face inside this virtual environment. You guys want to talk on?
So what you're saying then is, if you've got the goggles on right now, this is what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So imagine that, Dirtbags, that you've got the goggles, you got the headset on, and what else do they need, guys, as they've got the goggles? Do they need a bat? Do they need what's the package?
Yeah, so we basically, like, it's the headset, it's the application on the headset, and we have a bat attachment. So you'll take your real bat that you swing with in the game, and we have an attachment for it that like has a sensor that comes with the Oculus that we're able to measure your swing, see where the ball hits the bat, and just basically replicate what happens in reality in the virtual world.
That's fantastic.
So think about the sort of why this is possible, because at the end of the day, like all of these a pitch really comes down to like physics, right? And if we are able to take videos of those pitches, we can replicate the physics, right? So the spin, the velocity, the movement, the release point, all of these things that like matter. And, we players, rely on to perform, we're able to take and like provide game speed reps over and over and over and over again. So like, for instance, if you have an issue with a curveball, it's like, well, we got drills for that. It's like master the curveball. You're going to see curveballs from every angle. You're going to be able to see them from different sort of pitchers, release points, again, velocity, all these things. But it's like you said, Kirk, it's like, I can't do that. Your coach can't do that. But you need it, right? And where else can you get it? And that's kind of, the reason why we exist.
Yeah. And I think definitely what you guys were saying, and also to understand, Dirtbags, is the fact that you're talking about now a multi-use availability and ability of taking batting practice. You don't have to be just with your team. Like you showed through there on the video, John, briefly as I was watching. You could be in your local facility. doing it. You could be in your room doing it. You could be in your backyard doing it. You could be in your hotel room before the tournament game doing it. Am I missing something? Is this right? Is this?
No, that's 100% it. And like, we exist to make people better. What we've realized about our customer, our user, is they just want to be better, right? And they're willing to do whatever it takes. It's not about time, effort, energy. It's like just what's possible, right? And it's like they'll do anything, right? Hitting off the tee, all these things. It's like, but we just fit in this sort of space. It's like you just can't replicate this elsewhere, right? And so what we see with our users is just like the grinders are finding 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, just like, can I see 100 pitches today, right? And that's going to take me 10 minutes, but it's like 10 minutes a day is all of a sudden, you're seeing a lot of pitches, right? I think we got some crazy stats about some of our users who have basically like had entire MLB seasons, right? Like they're on their 9th season worth of real life pitches.
Okay.
It's just like, where else are you going to get that?
Yeah, for sure. So I saw you just scroll by it there quickly, John, or whatever. And that, so the data is stored, your collection is stored. I assume that it's Win Reality that stores that. How does that connection work for the buyer?
Yeah, so there are a couple ways to interact with what your stats would be. There's what John is showing you right now. This is kind of a sneak peek at what our dashboard looks like, where you can really dive in and answer pretty much any question you have. Why did I miss that curveball? Why was I late on that fastball? We tried to expose answers to these questions that to date for the at-home consumer have never been answerable before in the history of baseball. And that sounds hyperbolistic, but it's really not. To what John was saying earlier, if you want to hit, you either need an expensive pitching machine, or you need one of your friends to just kind of say goodbye to their arm and be willing to throw 100, 150 pitches to you. And no one's going to do that. So the stats that are surfaced on the dashboard are really in depth. We also do show in-game or in training metrics so that in real time, you don't have to wait to know, okay, how successful was I? In our pitch recognition mode, which is one of my favorites, we ask you 2 simple questions. What pitch did you just see? And where did it cross the strike zone? And so we test a couple of different things there. One, are you able to recognize the spin of the pitch? Is it a changeup? Do you understand the difference between a fastball and a changeup, a curveball and a slider, whatever it may be? In this case, this pitcher has 6 different pitches or 7. Maybe this is a Yu Darvish clone that we have in the application who's thrown 10 pitches. But we also then asked, how close to the strike zone, or where rather did the ball cross the strike zone? And that's a really critical thing to understand, because on average, major league hitters are generally within 2.5 inches of where the ball actually crossed the plate. And if you find that you're 6 or 7 inches off, that's going to answer a lot of questions that you may have about, why am I making no contact? Why am I making weak contact? And the answer is, you are missing something's off about your perception of how the pitch is approaching you. And so we can take that data, we can take that metrics, and our coaching staff can reach out to the at-home players and go over all of this data in a really helpful and meaningful way, and try to pull out the what if, or what does this mean from all of these metrics. Because you said it, there's so much data in baseball right now. It can be overwhelming at times, whether it's sabermetrics, baseball savant, exit velocity, all these new things. This is really an old school method served in a new school way. So at the end of the day, Win Reality is just a way to see game speed pitches, which has never been done before at scale. And we're just doing it with the technology of today. So I don't think there's any coach out there that would ever argue seeing more pitches at game speed conditions is a bad thing. There's just no chance that argument is ever going to be made. And it just so happens that the technology is at a place now in 2022 where you can bring this very, very old school concept to everyone at home, to these kids that are seeing 100 pitches a day. I mean, early on when we first launched, we had a leaderboard that we were watching internally, and there are these kids that are seeing 2,500 pitches a week. I mean, you see 2,500 pitches in a major league season. So if you are that, grip it and rip it, get after it, you can go see the same number of pitches that Paul Goldschmidt is going to see in a major league season in a week. You have all these pitchers to choose from, so you can really test your strengths. And like Branden said, we're just in the business of making people better. And to be able to do that from, a little league player all the way to pro, and they can just use Win Reality to get better. That's a really cool thing to be able to play a part in.
Huge, huge, no question. So let's get right down to it, because what are we talking about here, fellas? What's this package priced at? And that's important, because I'll follow up after you give the price.
Sure. Yeah. So you'll start with an Oculus. You need an Oculus to use our product. That's going to cost you about $300. And then we have two options from there. We have an annual membership, which we discount. And then we have a monthly membership. Our annual membership is the equivalent of $19 a month. Our monthly membership is $29 a month.
Okay.
So, and then from there, we have a bad attachment that, like I mentioned, costs, $20-$30, kind of dependent on shipping and what we're charging for it at the time. We kind of moved on price a little bit, but small in the grand scheme of things.
Sure. We're talking $500 to $700. Let's just say $500 to $700 all in, Dirtbags. Okay. And this is where you got to listen to us, because I get a little fired up about these things. Okay. Let's be real perspective about this. I get that. Ooh, geez, I don't know. That's a big ticket. Stop. Right now, stop. That's less than 7 hitting lessons. The hitting coach that you're going to, no disrespect at all. Everybody needs to make a living. Everything. They're going to throw the ball where you hit it the best, because they want you feeling great when you leave that lesson today. Win Reality is going to throw it where you hit it best, but it's also going to throw it where you need to work on in your cool zones.
That's right.
They're going to make you a better player at the end of the day. It's as simple as that. They're going to make you a better player at the end of the day, a better hitter at the end of the day, because you don't have me over your shoulder, Matt, Johnny, Sarah, Peter, Paul, Parrot, Mary, and everybody else over your shoulder telling you to stand on your head and blink 5 times and swing this way and swing that way. No, you're going to learn how to do it yourself. You're going to learn how to feel good. You're going to learn how to be educated, empowered, and become the hitter that you potentially can be. You're not going to get frustrated because Kirk's out there throwing 15 balls to 1 strike. You can't get a better package. This is a no-brainer. A no-brainer.
I want to add to that, Kirk, because the other thing is you don't have to work on a hitting coach's schedule.
That's right.
The player can work on their game, what they need to accomplish anytime they want, anywhere they want. They have autonomy in that, right? They get to work on their own improvement. They get to get better on their own terms, which is great.
Absolutely. What could be more empowering than that, Dirtbags? That's what it's about. That's what Win Reality is giving you, the gift of that. That's amazing. Guys, obviously I'm jacked up, but what are you most excited about coming down the pipe for Win Reality? If you can give away a little state secret, maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, happy to. So we think we have a really valuable product for our users. We think it can be even more valuable if we're able to coach to it, right? So everything that you mentioned, it's like, hey, coaching lessons cost this. We're able to do that. It's like, hey, well, why don't we actually add some coaching to our product and help people get better and know that they're getting better and teach them how to get better on their own. So we are putting together a program with, we currently have one coach who kind of proved out this model for us. He's a guy who's a former college baseball player. His dad's still an MLB scout. But basically, he's teaching people our app, right? And helping them. He's creating the drills, the programs, etc. And it's like, we've seen it work. He's got about 300 people he talks to on a regular basis. And, these kids are getting better each and every day. And it's like, okay, that's working. How do we scale it? And that's sort of the problem that we're solving as a business right now. It's like, this is clearly working. Hard to figure out to make it work as a business, but we're committed to it because it's clearly working. So more to come on that front.
That's fantastic to hear, for sure. So we're getting close to the end of this episode, guys. Where can they find you? How can they reach out to you? Is it all online?
Yep. So online, winreality.com. In the Oculus store, it should be within a few scrolls, if not at the top, currently, but search Win Reality, search baseball. You'll find us in the store if you already have an Oculus.
Okay. There you go, Dirtbags. If you have any more questions for them, and we know you always do. And that, again, we're not going to have anybody on with us, not because we're about this, we're not, but again, educating and empowering you, making sure you're becoming a better player tomorrow, today, right now, at this moment. Those are the people we're going to have on. So you got, again, Branden, Matt, John, Win Reality. I hope you feel the energy. I hope you feel the love for their product and the passion for it. But more importantly than their product, you as a player.
Yeah.
The same as us. They're the exact same as us. And that is awesome because it's all about paying this great game forward, isn't it, fellas?
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
you go. There you go. So I know I said at the top of the show, Dirtbags, we're hoping to put a little bit of a series together in that, but that helps out with you guys as well. So write those questions in. If you have questions, comments, whatever else you'd like to have, send them in to us. Kirk at dirtbagbaseballnation.com. I'll get them off to the guys or whatever, and that we'll bring it up on a future episode or whatever. We've got a couple of little quiet things in the hopper and stuff like that I don't want to just reveal yet or whatever, but fingers crossed that it'll work because it'll be a potentially phenomenal, great follow up to this phenomenal episode with you guys as well. So we're excited about that. Hey, last thing before we got to go, guys. You guys are doing a summer promotion package. Where can the baseball players probably find that or see something like that or be on the lookout for it?
winreality.com. If you sign up for our email list, you'll be the first to know. So
Yeah.
that'll be right on our site. Sign up for our list, and a lot more coming down the pike, and we're excited about it.
And can we announce the MLB thing at all? That you're doing a bit of sponsorships or promotions?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, well, we got a few things going on. We have a partnership with, we have some TV ads running with one of our sort of core Win users, Carson Sabathia, is the son of CC Sabathia, which is kind of interesting. John, I want you to talk to this maybe. But what's interesting is like our product is really anti-pitcher, right? To put it kind of bluntly. And Carson's a hitter. CC's obviously a pitcher. And it's a new regime, right? And so we had this sort of campaign where we're saying basically, sorry, pitchers, like, hey, the balance of power has shifted a little bit towards hitters, and we're happy to be a part of that.
And CC's happy to be retired.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
Although he did have 3 home runs in his
Yes.
career. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, that's right. So he'll be all over the Win Reality, making a comeback. He'll be coming out of retirement for sure. So, but anyways, Dirtbags, we hate to leave you, but it is that time and stuff like that. So get off here, get online with winreality.com. Check it out if you haven't heard them, you don't know about them. Even if you do, reevaluate. Hopefully you're more educated, you're more comfortable with really what the guys and the team at Win Reality are trying to provide for you hitters out there. Sorry, pitchers, like the boys said, sorry. But one thing at a time, right, fellas? You can only do so much in a holy Jesus, after you explain how long it took in a long period of time. So guys, great having you on. Thank you so much for being a part of the nation. I'm so excited to see this evolution of Win Reality and it keep moving and just continue to grow in the relationship with you. So again, thanks for being on.
Thanks, Kirk.
Appreciate it. You got it. Dirtbags, hey, thanks for being a part. Again, we do it for you. We can't do it without you. Spread the message. Hey, if you're out there playing this week, you know what time it is. It's time to get up, get after it, and get dirty. We'll see you again here real soon.